Hello, this is gonna be a ride. Today we're gonna talk about these things. Yes, we're going to talk about shotgun mics, which to most of you is irrelevant. But to some of you, especially if you're a content creator, please watch this and learn with me. I have learned with myself for 10 years now, and I'm trying to share almost everything that I know about these things and why it's relevant to use them. Big thanks to Sweetwater, who is sponsoring this video, primarily to push Sennheiser products. But it wouldn't be me if I didn't throw in a little bit of the competition, so this is not a complete guide to everything. Sony has some good mics, I think, but I've never actually, had them. I think Shure has one or two, that's about it. And really, I think the prime people in the market, the most used, are Sennheiser and Shure. And I have a Shure here, and I've got at least four Sennheisers here. And we're also going to look at some lower budget offerings from Rode, because, well, I have them. Now, I have quite a bit of experience with them now, and the question is, why use a shotgun mic if you're a creator? Now, these two especially, the 416 and the C-Mid, or the C-Mid Mini in this case, are the mics of choice for the Hollywood people. When you see a boom coming from above, it's usually one of these two, or the longer C-Mid. Now, for creators like us, why? Right now, I'm actually talking into an 8060 by Sennheiser. Very, very nice mic that I just got from Sennheiser Germany. Thank you, Stephanie. I prefer shotguns. What are the three kind of variations of mics we can use? Well, we can use a mic in front of us. And you've seen this from podcasting and in our podcast that we do in German, wo wir über Scheiße labern. Und heute ist das auch nicht anders.
Wie ich auf die Welt gekommen bin.
Der Kindswurf von Cordoba, ich sag's dir.
Da kann ich mich nicht mehr dran erinnern. We use it. I don't like it. I don't like the setup. I don't like the look. The sound is nice. It's right here. It's round. It's fuller. Sound-wise, yes. But it's not super natural sounding, because nobody is right in your ear. And I hate the look of the gamers, the podcasters, and all these people having their mics right here. Sennheiser MKE600, that's not a look you want from your creator. The whole expression of the face is masked. Also, it really builds a wall between you and the guy that you're watching. Not just because there's actually a wall in front of you, or even worse with this SM7B by Shure. We could do it like this, but I mean, most people, they have them hanging, whatever, and they're talking to these. And again, sound-wise, this is nice and big, but it is not this illusion of there's just a guy talking to me, like it is right now. So you see the vehicle that the sound is being transmitted with, whether it's actually a wall literally in front of them, or right here, the illusion is gone. There's a mic recording the sound. And to me, just like one of those, looks like an infomercial. So, which this actually somehow kind of is. It's just an honest one. So these get you a good sound. You can get them in any price range, but I don't like the visual. I don't like what it tells you. So if you're a creator, meaning influencer, YouTube video guy, whatever, you create videos, and you want the feeling of for your audience that you're talking directly to them without anything in between, a shotgun is the way to go. You're also much freer to move around. If I have a mic here, I can very easily move away from it. With a shotgun, you have a bigger range. I mean, obviously, the sound now should change. Okay, there should be a difference. But you have room to move. Now, lav mics are great. I use lav mics when I'm walking around on trade shows, when I'm doing interviews with people where we're not in the same position. They are great for certain applications. The little lav right here, wirelessly into the camera. There's a myriad of different products that can give you this. Sennheiser EWD Portable right now is my weapon of choice. I've got a full video on that. But I don't like the sound of them as much as I like a shotgun. A lav is okay, but you can rustle it and all that. There's maybe sometimes transmission issues, but I never really love the sound of a lav mic. I'm always in awe when I see people using lavs and it sounds good. I can't get it. So to me, it is the shotgun. And I started with, as many have, with a camera-mounted hot shoe mount shotgun in a relatively lower price range. The Rode video mic clocks in at around $200. Has the windscreen already built in, which I don't think is so great, because if this rips or whatever, then, you know, it's really glued to it. And we're going to have this in our shootout as well. I know it's a sponsored video. Thank you, Sweetwater and Sennheiser. But realistically, this is the mic that many of you started with. And it does a good job. For the money, no question about it. In my 2 cents at the end, I'll tell you what I learned about Rode versus others. But the problem is, you turn this on, and the battery inside will drain as you use it. And then you turn the camera off, and the damn mic stays on. Because trust me, you will forget it. You will forget that you have to turn off the mic separately. And usually you have one shot with that for 10 minutes. And then 3 hours later, you get back to do the next shot, and the mic's empty. It's just what happens. And I was looking like crazy for this video about my Rode Video Mic Plus, which fixes this issue. And I couldn't find it. Then I did the whole shootout that you see at the end, all the sounds, and I found it afterwards, after 3 years. So here it is. It's a little bit bigger. It has a rechargeable battery, which is nice. It's in here with USB, a micro USB. So very nice. The cable on this is fixed bad. The cable on this can be exchanged. They learned a lot. In the back here, you've got a roll-off, plus, minus dBs, whatever. And this also has a function to send a lower level out of the second output, which is great because then in case the first level is distorting, the second one is safe. And it actually turns off, it's got auto sensing when the camera turns off. Absolutely, because of all these features, worth the upgrade in price. And we don't have that in the shootout. Now, Sennheiser has one that I requested Sweetwater to send me. Thank you, Sweetwater. I had most of the others here. So Sweetwater sent the 600 and this. Let's unbox this.
Could not believe that you were mine. You were my little angel who one day would fall.
So there you go. That is around $200. Nice little pouch. Comes with these 2 beautiful Sennheiser cables. One of them for a smartphone, which means on one end we've got tip ring sleeve, and here we got tip ring sleeve. So that's for a smartphone, and that means you can actually monitor what's coming from the smartphone through the headphone out right there with level over there, which is actually pretty damn great, which the Rode doesn't have. So you can monitor your level. It comes with a dead cat, which in the end you will see actually kills all the wind. This mic in general, out of all of them, has the least low end. So it sounds a little bit bass stuffed, but it also eliminates wind and any other problems. This screws onto it, this clips into your camera, this goes into the hot shoe mount. Here you've got plus minus levels and high pass filter, and there you turn it on. But when the camera turns on, it turns on automatically and it turns off automatically with the camera as well. And I very much appreciate this dead cat. That's what we call it, because it looks like, well, in this case, a dead hamster. It does kill the wind quite a bit more than the competition. So if you don't need all the low end, which can be problematic with rumble on the floor and things like this. Again, it sounds the thinnest out of all of them, but it has the least amount of room noise and wind noise and rumble and stuff like this. For $200, if you're getting into putting something on your camera, this is great. This is not, or your cell phone, absolutely cool. If you have some way of mounting that on a hot shoe. It doesn't work with XLR. These are all for on camera. So we're gonna move on to the next one that Sweetwater sent, which is the first actual real shotgun. And let's take it out of the box. Thank you, Sweetwater, for sending that. So the great thing about the MKE600 is it doesn't break the bank. It does come with a little shock mount that's angled. My only gripe with that is if you wanted to mount that on a mic stand, you can't because the thread is too small. So this is only for a hot shoe, not for a mic stand. So how do I now mount that on a mic stand? That's my only issue. So you can run this XLR, perfect. You can open this up, as I have, and I will show you the difference. There is no difference. In the sound clips, you can run this with a battery. So you can run it on a camera with a battery because it needs phantom power, and then you turn it on. Remember to turn it off. And for that, you have XLR to the tiny plug, whatever it's called. And this shock mount, which is pretty cool. So you can run this on a normal camera, but you can run it in your studio with XLR and phantom power as a normal shotgun. And there's also a windscreen. If you get into the world of shotgun mics, this is very likely the one to get, because bang for the buck, it offers you quite a bit. Now, full disclaimer for this video, should have done that at the beginning. We're not gonna go into frequency response charts. That's what we got our ears for, and we listen at the end. We're not gonna go into SPLs and the noise, signal to noise ratios and all the nerdy shit, because I'm not someone who runs these through an oscilloscope and does all that stuff. No, I'm reporting to you from a user perspective, not from a tech nerd perspective. We've got other channels for that. We're gonna go up in price, around $600. Very, very, very popular, the NTG3. There's also an NTG4 and NTG2. Don't quite know what's happening with these. This is only for XLR. It comes with a little clamp. It comes with one of those windscreens. That's not the correct one. And it comes with, I don't know where it is. I'm sorry, I've been using this for years. A very, very, very sturdy metal tube that you unscrew. You shove this in very, very securely and you screw it back on. Which means this is absolutely safe when you're traveling with it. The NTG3 is a very solid shotgun mic in terms of length. It is a tiny, tiny bit longer than the longest one I thought I had, which is the 416 from Sennheiser. So it's even a little bit longer, which later in the clips, you will see why that matters. And if you're a filmatologographer, this matters absolutely because will it hang into the shot? How high do you have to hold the boom? You know, which is why Shep says a CMIT Mini, because I mean, look at this. This is very likely not gonna hang into the shot. And weight-wise, there is a difference. Again, if you have a 3-meter boom, that's about 10 feet, do you really wanna boom a heavy mic? We're probably not gonna boom. I like saying boom, because we are creators, we're talking to cameras from about this distance. But it matters. So the NTG3 is a solid contender, and as all the Rhodes, they have something in the low frequencies that the others don't have. There's pros and cons to that. Bang for the buck, not bad, but I always felt I can do better, which is when I made a huge jump, which was going to the CMIT Mini, which is about around 2K. in the US. In Europe, it's probably like 1900. Comes in a wooden box. Really nothing for the road, with a little clip. So I then said to Shops, well, I need to actually have a little shock mount for it. And then I think for $80, I got this. Yeah, it works. And for years I had it on that. It's not the greatest. Generally for shock mounts, again, this is a Sweetwater sponsored video, but I'm gonna make some recommendations. I have a bunch of these. They're about $9.90 or $10, and I get them off Amazon. Great, because I need to replace them regularly because sometimes those rubbers from the shock mount will break. There's usually an extra set included. These are plastic. You can take this off at the bottom, or you can, and then you have a normal microphone mount. You can put a reduction piece in there if you so choose, but then you can mount it on a normal microphone stand, and they also come like this with a hot shoe mount to put in on your camera. But then, and I recommend getting this for your NTG or whatever doesn't come with the shock mount, which is probably all of them. And then you have a good shock mount for it. Now, make sure you're buying the right one, because here, both sides are rather small. Okay, now look at this. Quite a bit bigger. And this doesn't actually hold the mic. So there's different versions, and I clearly, for this, bought the wrong one. And here it clearly holds. But this is $10. At some point, the rubber will fail, rubber gets old, which is why I buy them in bulk. I usually order 2 or 3 to have spares. And that's what I would recommend, because usually they come in a clip like this. Here's another clip, that's the one for the 8060. Hey, quick word on mounting on cameras. Now, on my Canons, these Sennheiser mics fit just fine into the shotgun mount that is on the camera. I don't know if Canon offers different kind of sizes. Interestingly, on the FX6 that I'm looking into right now and on the FX3, this hole is way too big for Sennheiser mics or for the Shops. So the Sony mics must be quite a bit thicker. I don't have experience with the Sony shotguns. There are rubber points in here to really clamp down, but as you can see, that is way too big for a Sennheiser. And I pointed that out while I was at Sweetwater's Gearfest last year to the folks at Sennheiser, and then they were like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Apparently they had no idea, which is weird. And so my friend Stephanie from Sennheiser supplied me with these, which are really just a beautiful, beautifully done. So I got Sennheiser on it. Little piece of rubber that perfectly now fits in here and is a rubber adapter for Sennheiser mics with Sony cameras. I don't know what it's like on Panasonic cameras, on Canons they fit, etc., etc. Just make sure that you're aware of the situation and that when you're buying a Sennheiser or Shops or whatever, that for your camera, if that's what you want to do, it actually fits. It is not a universal fit in any way. So if you're buying a Sennheiser, maybe ask your Sweetwater sales assistant, engineer, consultant, if they can get these for you. Not sure yet. And not Sennheiser yet. They come with a clip, they come with a basic windscreen, which we're gonna see in the end is better than nothing, but not as good as more. So when you're out and about, have this on. Right now on my 8060, I don't have a windscreen on because we're inside. I used the Shops for years. But then I started using, in my Studio B, in my Studio C, the 416. So here are some clips from Studio B where I just have the windscreen on because why not?
Hey, don't write yourself off yet. It's only you knew how to feel left out or looked down on. Just try your best, try everything you can.
And in my Studio C, I've got the Blimp around it. Now, why? Well, because people bump into it, and when it's really, really big, even inside, people bump into it less. This amp takes it into account and compensates for that. So technically, at any level, but when you're a professional working outside in a windy environment, first of all, you want your expensive mic protected. And secondly, you want an easy way of gunning it, of having it and pointing it at things. If you're collecting sounds for sample libraries and doing Foley sound effects, this is probably what you're gonna use, and you definitely don't want wind in it. So Sennheiser offers, don't ask me, the MKE something, which is the whole shotgun accessory. And it looks like this. It's a very expensive piece of plastic. It's very good plastic, and you don't want this metal because weight, but it is plastic for quite a bit of money. It comes with different sizes right here to put into the rubber. In this case, all of mine clip in, so here's the NTG, bam, clips in, and then you could shotgun it. But realistically, you want the Blimp around it, which already helps you get in quite a bit, and this is sold separately, quite a bit of wind reduction. I gotta pull this back a bit inside. It's a longer mic. Definitely very, very shaky protected. Now it's right at the beginning. Then you have a cable, and they can run through there. And then you screw the back on, which is kind of difficult, especially once the cable is through there. But now you can point this. You can mount this on a mic stand. And very nice, you can actually run the cable through here twice. So when someone yanks on the cable, it's not yanking on your mic. This is a great tool. And when there's real wind, now you clamp this in. When there's real wind, you put the dead cat around it. And then the whole thing looks like this. So that's kind of the look of the mic if the mic had a dead cat around it. But actually it looks like this. We used it when we were on a small island in the Philippines, and we had quite a bit of wind and the waves and all that stuff, and Andy Ferris, the guitar geek, was pointing this at Ryan Burke from 60 Cycle Hum and getting super phenomenal sounds with a 416 in it, this whole setup plus the dead cat, into a little Zoom F3. It's a very mobile setup, could get Fender power, all that, and we got phenomenal audio for people that don't know how to do anything. So if you're filming outside and you absolutely want clear audio, even though there's wind going on, this is the whole setup that you want around your shotgun. However, the whole setup, minus the shotgun, that's not included, all three pieces are almost adding up to about $1,000. So just be warned, that's the budget you will need if you want to do the professional film people Blimp thing. I don't know why it's so expensive. When you have, it's good stuff, but it's all plasticky things. So I mean, just no. That's how much you have to spend.
Sennheiser 416 phantom powered shotgun mic in here, but I've got a little extension on there because here it operates like this. And for the extension, it's like this. Ow! See? Necessary piece of additional gear.
Was a hair.
No, there's a lot of hairs in my mouth now. Maybe. There has to be something. Fresh mineral refresh. Gotta find a tool, some way to adjust intonation.
And we had the 416 in it. I have 4 or maybe 5 of these now in my different studios, and I absolutely love it. Yes, we talked about the Blimp in Studio C. I love having that there. It doesn't in any way interfere with the sound, and the sound is great. Just listen to this stuff. I'm gonna say 1 or 2, probably 2, but the effect is off because you cannot switch the effects loops. The 2 parallel effects loops cannot be turned off, which is a gripe I have. Now, the great thing about a shotgun is, like in Studio C, we recorded an acoustic guitar course, and we didn't need any extra mics. We had this, it captured the voice, and it captured the acoustic guitar absolutely naturally in the room. So if you're doing that kind of stuff, that's what you want.
Gehen wir mal zum D. Wenn wir jetzt mal nur den Ton D spielen auf der A-Seite getappt.
Now, of course, this also comes, with the windscreen, as does the C-mid, little blue one, but you want the bigger one if you're really serious about filming outside. Now, the 416 comes with a nice black box that houses the windscreen and the little clip, nothing else. Probably too big to carry around. I never wanted to carry it around if you're traveling on a plane and stuff like this. It doesn't make an awful lot of sense. The tube for the NTG is a much better thing, and my 416 actually fits into that tube, so I can recommend that. The 8060, which is on the camera right now, so I can't show you, comes with a shorter windscreen. It is a much shorter mic, which is great for weight, for hanging into the camera and all that stuff. And it comes with a little plastic tube. No case, no anything else, so, information you might want to have. Just in, when you're carrying it around, you, as a filmographer, you probably want it in there. So, we're pretty much almost done. If you're filming with your cell phone, way at the bottom again, in terms of price range and size and, starter stuff, here's the competition. Here's Shure. I think it's called the Motif something 88. Comes with a little clip for your phone with a hot shoe. Clip your phone on there. There's even a hot shoe mount for your camera. No cable though to actually get it into your camera, so I'm not sure where that went. It's actually a stereo mic, so that can go on your phone or your camera. I'm thinking I'm missing a cable here. Headphone out, because I think there was an... how do I get in my camera? Not sure. That cable is gone. Look it up, Shure something, Motif 8 something, MV88, if you want to film with your cell phone. There's a couple of options now, but this is the shotgun option. So we looked at the Blimp, we looked at these right here. Now, we never actually talked about why I have a shotgun. Okay, this should have been at the beginning. This is an unprofessional video. These are hypercardioids, meaning they very, very, very much focus on what is in front of them and try to block out as much of the side stuff as possible. Something about these riffly things, I have no idea how it works. It's some kind of fairy magic. I'm the guy in front of the camera. I'm not designing them. I don't give a flying rat's ass. They have to work. And now, one thing that I noticed and that I never really liked, when you are a creator type of person and you have it hanging, let's say, over your computer screen. Problem is, you've got the table bounce into the mic. You've got the computer screen bouncing off into the mic, and you get some kind of boxy sound. Technically, with a shotgun, that should be much better than with other mics. Over the years, sometimes I got it more in here, and sometimes I got it less. We're doing this as a test. So now let's talk about the test. I'm going with all of these into my FX3, either on the mini plug or on the XLR on auto level. When there's something applied, other than compression, which I apply on all of them, it is on the screen just to show you what post-processing can give you in terms of eliminating even more room sound. These shouldn't have too much room sound. Or noise reduction and stuff like this. but all of them directly on a camera. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the mics as we go. Then we're gonna have it right in the position where I work, which is over the screen, which is over the table. And then we're gonna go outside, where there's wind, where there's no bouncies, and all that stuff, and we hear it in a situation where it probably would be on a camera outside. We're not gonna boom it and all that stuff, and again, you're not gonna learn from me about signal to noise ratios. Listen and tell me what you think in the comments. I will run all these clips now, and then I'll tell you what I've learned. Now I'm talking into the Rode video mic, and I'm at a distance of about, I'm gonna say, a meter. Okay, and we're gonna do this with the on-camera mics and then also the XLR mics exactly in that same position. Free in the room. This room is relatively dry, and I'll try to get the exact same position, talk at about the same volume, and I'm gonna leave leveling to the camera. So this is the Sennheiser, don't even ask me what it's called, MKE600 I think it's called. I just found out that it has auto sensing for on and off, which is actually very cool. And then it's got the really cool cat on it. Technically it beats the Rode in that regard. I'm sitting in the same position, and let's just see what it sounds like later. Obviously I will put the typical post-processing on it that I usually do, which is EQ, compression, and all that stuff. I know you're gonna say, but then that's not what the mic sounds like, but that is actually what you would do anyway, and we're doing the same post-processing for all of them. Now we have the Sennheiser MKE600, which is pretty cool because it can actually be operated with XLR and phantom power or with a built-in battery, and then the included cable on a nice little swivel mount on top of a camera. You can see with this camera though, because of the bigger lens, it is actually right above the lens, and it's actually resting on the lens when I'm using the windscreen. So we're gonna have to see how the bounce off the lens will affect the sound, because right now the tip of the mic is right over the lens, and it will affect, because of bouncy, what it sounds like. I think I've said enough. And as you can now see, the MKE600 is connected to the FX3's XLR thing. I picked auto level on it, and levels are now a little bit higher coming in with the phantom power than it was before, directly into the little 6.3 something in or whatever, that little pluggy thing on the camera. But I will make sure that in post-processing the levels are equal. And that is how I would use it, preferably because I have the ability to use XLR. You might not, and that means you have to go to the little tiny plug. And I love that this mic allows you to run it on cameras with XLR or the tiny plug and a battery, and in your studio. You can still use it with XLR on a clamp on the table and actually use it like a studio shotgun mic. That makes it pretty flexible at its whatever price point that is, you know, not $1,000, I think 300 maybe, something like that. So hopefully you have enough audio now. And here you're hearing the good old Rode, or Rode, how we say that, NTG3 clocking in at about $600. So it's not a bargain basement mic, it's definitely above the MKE600, but it is a very standard benchmark shotgun mic for many creators that take the leap and spend the money. And then for me, it was a stepping stone. I used it for quite a while, but I always had the feeling there is a better sound to be had, which is when I went to the shops, which was, you know, 800, 1900, quite a bit of money, which actually, let's do that jump now to the top of the line, and then we go back to Sennheiser, which was my journey. So I went from the NTG3 to the shops. And here we have the Shops CMIT Mini, and interesting enough, Sony is also not equipped for those. The Sonys must be quite a bit bigger, but we don't have any here in the test. So that little adapter that Sennheiser gave me for the Sony cameras is too much to clip it in there, and so it right now it's just hanging in there loosely, which is a little bit of a shame. But these are seen these CMIT minis in many movies. Whenever you see a boom coming down, that blue color is pretty obvious, and you know they're using Schups. But they're also using the MKE600 and the 8060. Those three mics are what you see and hear in Hollywood movies coming down with a boom. For us creators, well, now you can decide what you like more or less. So here you hear the Sennheiser MKE600 P48, just means phantom power, I guess. I have, I think, 4 of these, and I love the sound. Every time I hear back what I record with it, it's the main mic in my Studio B, it's the main mic above me in my Studio C. It has been the main mic on my FX6 camera wherever I go. I love that thing. At $9.99, I think that's the price. This is just the weapon to get. However, one of the issues I sometimes had with it, because of the length, right now we have a pretty wide angle. Let me see how wide angle we can get. No, we're still good. Depending on the angle and with the windscreen on it, sometimes it actually hangs into the frame. So if you're shooting wide angle, you got the windscreen on it, make sure that it's not dipping down into the frame because it is a longer mic. And that issue is not there with the 8060, which is going to be the next mic we'll hear. And now, last but certainly not least, the Sennheiser 8060. Definitely quite a bit shorter than the MKE600, I mean those names, 416 P48. They should give it better names. But I found in the position where I usually record, definitely better than even the CMIT. So this should tell us something about typical creator distance if the mic is going into the camera in the room. And the next test we'll be doing is on the table in a very compromised position right next to the screen above a desk where we literally have 2 bounces going into the mic, and usually we have a pretty boxy sound. So we're going to take all the XLR mics, which is the 600, the NTG, the 416, the Schups, and the 8060, can you still follow me? And test it in a creator position next to a screen where hopefully this mic filters out as much of the boxiness as possible. So this is usually the direction I would be talking into my main camera, and the mic hangs over there, and it is in a very compromised position because it gets the reflection from down here. This is a little bit softer because of the mouse pad, but it bounces off the screen, and we definitely need to make sure that it doesn't sound so boxy. So I have tried different things. Now I'm trying new things, for example, like this MKE600. That's what you're hearing right now. That is the more budget version from Sennheiser. I'm looking at levels, and the levels will be different because the mics definitely have different sensitivities. I will not touch the levels and rather deal with it in post, because again, I will do the same post-processing I usually do for my videos, because this is what you would be hearing. And in the end, what the actual result is like is what matters. So we have the same position. You can see it in this shotgunny kind of a thing, shock mount from Sennheiser. It's easy to just clip the mics in there. But this is the NTG3 from Rode in the same position. I can see there's definitely more level coming out of it. Again, I will adjust that. I will keep talking so you have a bit of an idea of what the Rode behaves like in a, again, compromised, very reflecty position on a creator's desk. Why am I looking in the camera? That is not even on. I should be looking in this camera, but that feels wrong to me. And here's the long behemoth, the 416 something P40H, the Sennheiser something that I've been using for years now in different studios. Let's see, I really can't tell you how it behaves. Me talking this position from over there with the bounciness, I have no idea. I know how it behaves directly over a table on a camera, because that's what I've been using with the FX6 right here. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. I had it up here for a long time. That's what I usually do. And you can also tell what happens when you're moving around and you're actually talking away from the mic. That's something that, you know, we're not doing with every mic because, oh my God, it would be way too complicated. But definitely something much better than a mic on the table. as long as you're in the same vicinity. Let's go to the shops. And now here's the CMIT Mini, the mic that I've been using for a long time, exactly in that position until I recently replaced it for the 8060, which is $200 cheaper, and I find it considerably better. But looking at the level right now, the Shure has a considerably lower level, even lower than the MKE600. So I'm thinking maybe the 8060 just has more output, and that's why I like it more. Who knows? In the end, you got to go with your gut feeling. I will try to, of course, in post, make it as even as possible when it comes to the levels. That's the Shure. It's blue. It's cool. But it's no Sennheiser. I don't know. You decide. And now we're talking into or past the Sennheiser 8060. That is a ridiculously louder level than the Shure or even the 416. So maybe we like things that are louder. That has something to do with it. Maybe it's just generally more sensitive. I had a feeling that, and we'll find out, the boxiness on it that this setup creates is less pronounced than on definitely the Shure. I always had a bit of a feeling that phasing that I was getting, it bugged me. And I don't have that feeling anymore with the 8060. But maybe the feeling's wrong. Maybe it's the new toy phenomenon. So next thing we're going to do is take them outside with the windscreen on them and see how they behave in a non-reflective open environment. And then you should, in terms of audio, have everything you ever wanted. Like this MKE600. That's what you're hearing right now. NTG3 from Rode in the same position. Something P40 is HP, the Sennheiser something. And now here's the CMIT Mini, the mic that I've been using for a long time. And now we're talking into or past the Sennheiser 8060. So now I'm outside in the garden holding a whole bunch of shotgun mics looking like an idiot. On the FX3, again with auto leveling, we have the Shure CMIT Mini, and that should be about enough. Well, of course, with the windscreen, that's what we're testing here. And that should be about enough for you to get an idea. And onto the 8060 from Sennheiser with its included windscreen. Of course, we could be doing the Blimp and the dead cat and all that stuff. Realistically, you're not going to do this. If you're in the market for this, you're probably a professional videographer and filmer, and you're not going to watch this video. This is really more for creator, and I have examples of what it sounds like with the whole setup from the island, as I've probably already shown you. So this is it in a realistic 150 meter, 3 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet away from the camera. Much further away, you wouldn't use it. At trade shows with all the stuff happening, you probably wouldn't use it. You would probably use it in a more controlled environment like here. We have birds, we've got cars in the background, but we don't have massive noise. You would very likely use something closer to yourself, or maybe even a reporter mic if the situation would allow for it. So this is the Sennheiser 416, and I can see it already that it's dipping down a little bit in the front because it is a heavier mic, it is a longer mic, and with a windscreen, it, gravity. So maybe Leslie can show it hanging there like a limp shotgun. And because of that, if you have a wide angle, you can see it actually dipping into the shot. That has happened to me in the past, absolutely. So you have to be careful. And sometimes you just don't notice if you're a creator that films themselves and you just look at yourself, your beautiful face, and you don't notice how the shotgun dips into the shot. So with this, be careful. This is why I like the CMIT. This is why I like the 8060, because they're shorter and there is really no danger of that. Full disclosure, this is the Rode NTG3, which has the same length as the 416, actually a few millimeters longer. And I'm using the windscreen now. We actually have wind coming in right now. Oh, quite a bit. From the 416, because I don't know where the windscreen for my NTG3 is. I haven't used it in a while, but it's very similar. It's the same thing. But we should have the same dipping down issue right there with the Rode NDG3, which is 400 cheaper. So if you think that the sound is, nothing that you can distinguish, then maybe the Rode is for you, he said in a Sennheiser video. Sorry. That's what happens. And here we are now with the Sennheiser MKE600. That is definitely way below the other Sennheiser mics in terms of price point. And as I already said before, but I gotta say something in these videos so you hear me, I love the battery operation. I love the fact that you can mount it directly to a camera or not, and also with XLR. So we're gonna hear how that sounds compared to the others. I have no idea. I actually never heard the sound. This is the first time I'm recording with these, and in post I will find out where the difference is. It's raining, we have no time, we gotta run. This is the Rode video mic, the standard version, and this is what it sounds like outside at the same distance of where the others were. I hope that tells you something. It is plugged in directly into the camera again, not with the whole XLR thing, but we have a camera showing you that. That's what we're doing with two cameras. It's raining! Now, MKE400, I love the dead cat around it. It just looks so professional, and I love that there's different cables for it, a smartphone cable, a normal cable. I love that it turns on and off with the camera. That saves you so much battery, because trust me, I've done this. For 199 bucks, I think this is probably a good creator mic, especially the fact that you can put it into, I'm talking too fast, into a smartphone as well. But it's raining, and I hope you have everything that you need. I'm going to talk a little bit quieter, because some people talk a little bit quieter. I project quite a bit. How does it sound at that level? Now back to me. So here's what I learned after I edited all of these. The Rodes have a definite pronounced low end. They sound rounder and bigger, thicker than the Sennheisers. However, that makes them more susceptible, that's a word, to wind and table rumble, footsteps, all of that. The Shure is great. The 416 is as great at almost half the money, and it has a bit more top end. The 1080, which again I'm talking into, is very sensitive, pumps out quite a bit more level right away, and is, I just like it. It sounds even a tiny bit more natural than this. Realistically, when you take the Sennheisers, even the cheapest, the 600, and the 416, and they sound pretty much very similar to the Shure. Even the cheapest one from Sennheiser, they all have a very, very workable sound. This Rode and the Rodes give you more low end. Do you need that? Do you like that? If you want the lowest low end, you probably want a mic in front of it with proximity effect. I absolutely prefer the sound of shotguns. I will take them with me wherever the situation allows. Not at a trade show, that's not happening because there's too much noise. You would have to be very close to the camera. But how far do you have to actually be to the camera? I mean, I'm right here. Is this still actually getting me? Ideally, you want to be as close to the mic, as always, as possible. So I'm coming close, but you can't get it exactly out of frame. I mean, that's like too close for comfort for anyone now. So you can have these beautifully coming in, and pull it back. And there you go, and that's where you want it. Glenn Fricker used an Octava 012, I think, or 02. It's under 200 bucks. It's a little small diaphragm condenser. It's not a shotgun, but that's how he gets his voice sound, compresses the crap out of it, and it's right above him out of frame. That's how he gets his sound. Very low budget. I love Sennheiser. I love the people from Sennheiser. I love their products when it comes to videography, wireless stuff, and I absolutely love their shotguns. I bought this because I thought I would feel very cool to have one of the, most expensive shotguns, and it's also blue, and it's great. You can also get these at Sweetwater. But for me, honestly, in all my studios now, it's the 416 or the 8060. If you're on a budget, the MKE600, battery operatable, XLR, honestly, the sound is great. I wouldn't have looked at this twice because it's too cheap, that can't be pro. I'm such a shotgun snob. So, hope you learned something. Hope you know now how to get the mics out of your shot and still get a great sound even though you're moving around a bit. Thank you, Sweetwater, again for your kind support over the years and for this video. Thank you, Sennheiser. I love you guys. And I love you guys. There are links below. Please use them. That absolutely helps. And please subscribe to the channel. Whatever you like, guitars, shotguns, whatever, because it helps me. And just don't watch the videos. Just subscribe to the channel. That's fine too. I'm okay with that. And as we always have, we might not know that because you're new, animals at the end.